I am Shell Miller. I'm a survivor and overcomer of a catastrophic head injury, as you can see. I'm going to be sharing more about that and what my purpose on this planet is. Hello, hello. I am Shell Miller. I was in a tragic accident that busted my skull on impact, shattered my right eye socket, shattered my nose. My nose was laid over to the side, and the first responders, as you can see, the car was totaled, and the first responders, the firefighters, said that I would not live. The state trooper came along and said I would not live. The ambulance came along and said I would not live. They were all so sure that I was a dead woman, they sent my purse and my cell phone with the car with the wrecker service. So I had been traveling alone. Nobody knew who I was. And so statistically, they work these accidents on the interstate every day. They see the condition of the people and who lives and who does not. So they were going based upon their experience. And they sent me to 3 different hospitals. I ended up being passed around. I was air flighted from the last one to the trauma hospital in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I was not from there, but I was traveling through Arkansas. So that's the biggest, best hospital they could get me to. And all this time they had been passing me around from, person to person and hospital to hospital. They just wouldn't touch me. They just said I was not going to make it. And by the time family and friends found me, because they knew I was traveling and they knew something had happened, they had not heard from me, they kept calling wrecker services and hospitals until they found me. I had been pushed into a corner and had a tag that said unknown. I mean, I was like a Jane Doe. Nobody knew who I was. And so as you can see, I lived. I didn't die. You see the picture of me on life support. I was in the hospital for a month. I had 4 surgeries in 3 weeks. They actually, I don't know if you can see the scars or not, but they cut me from here to here 3 times in 3 weeks. They laid my face down. They did reconstruction work to my eye socket to rebuild it, all up under here. My face, my facial bones were all shattered. My nose had to be completely restructured and rebuilt. And so the first night of the accident, they called it emergency surgery, but I had been laying there, for probably 12 hours by that point. And the neurosurgeon stood over me from 9:30 that night until 6:30 the next morning, I am told. And she picked debris from the highway and glass out of my brain. They said that I would die from meningitis, just from that one thing alone, because when all of that, nastiness from the highway and glass went into my brain, that just, people don't live from these things. So that didn't happen. I did not get meningitis. I did have several spinal fluid leaks. I had high fevers. They could not get to go down. I was on the machines breathing for me. All of the tests and the machines, kept pointing toward death. And they said if I did live, I would have no quality of life. I would be a vegetable in a nursing home. And as you can see, that is not true either. So I'm thankful, to God, and I'm thankful for my neurosurgeon. She was a very tiny, petite, little, short neurosurgeon that fought with everything in her. She fought for me, and I love and appreciate her very much. But I do, thank God for choosing to let me live and live in such a beautiful way. I never had physical therapy. I never had speech therapy. I never had cognitive therapy. And I didn't do anything to make that happen. The neurosurgeon even told me in let's see, it was May the 3rd of 2020, she told me that she did not take any credit for this, that I was just a miracle and that God had done this for me. But I do also give her credit because she worked very hard. You know, the thing is, doctors and surgeons are limited to what they have learned and they have experienced, and they have just been able to get into their skill set and their mindset, and also with the tools that they have to work with. But God is not limited. And as you can see, and when I'm in the pink there, I'm on an airplane, and I went to Uganda my first time October 3rd of last year. I got on a plane by myself and flew over 16,000 miles. It was my first time having a passport. It was my first time getting a visa. It was my first time flying that far alone. It was intimidating and exciting all at the same time, to think that I had come that far to be able to navigate all this. I applied for my own visa online. You know, all of this is just, it's amazing, and I still don't yet comprehend what God has truly done for me, because it is much bigger than me, and it's much bigger than I can comprehend. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for life. Every day I cherish every moment, because even if something this tragic has not happened in your life, we are not promised tomorrow. We never know. You know, it doesn't matter about age or health. Life happens, and so all of us need to just make the most of every day. You know, don't sweat the small stuff. Just let it go, because it's not worth it. In the end, a lot of things in this life just don't even matter. So the next picture, you see me there with some of the children at Noah's Ark Orphanage School outside of Jinja, Uganda. It's where the Nile River starts. So I first toured this school last year, and I spent 7 weeks in Uganda last year, going to different villages and sharing my testimony and sharing the gospel. It was a very amazing experience, eye-opening for sure, culture shock, a lot of sweating, a lot of potholes in those roads. In Africa are, you know, dirt, and there's big deep potholes, and it's a wild adventure, I'm telling you. And I fell deeply in love with Uganda the minute that my plane landed. I felt the love in the atmosphere. It just, I don't know how to explain it. It sounds crazy, but it's like Uganda hugged me. It's like I just felt all the love of the people before I even met the people, before I even got off the plane. And that is the, you know, the magic of Uganda. It is like a paradise. It's so beautiful, and the people are so amazing. I just fell in love that day. I landed October 5th last year, and I've never been the same. The people have changed my life, especially the children. As you can see them, they are so delightful. On the bottom right, that little girl that is next to me, that is Grace. She's 6 years old, and she has Down syndrome. And she talks, but she doesn't say the full word a lot of times. And so she discovered that I could sing Osobolo in their language, which is Luganda. And she would come at recess, and she would get, you know, down and peekaboo behind the table, and she would say, "Mama Zungu, Osobolo, Mama Zungu, Osobolo." And she wanted me to sing. And so Muzungu is the Luganda word for white person. So what she was saying was, "White mama, sing to me, you know, Osobolo." And So that nickname has stuck. The other children begin to call me Mama Zungu. Also, now I am known as Mama Zungu at Noah's Ark. There is over 600 children that attend the school. Over 300 of them are orphans that the majority of them have to be turned away every day because there is not accommodations to keep them. That is one thing that I do work on every day, is finding funds for the children for food and to build this housing. We're working on our first orphanage house that is almost finished, and we like a couple of $1,000s to completely finish that, and then I'm going to start working on bunk beds and mattresses and pillows and sheets and comforters so that they can have a soft bed and get in off the street. When the children are turned away, they have to go find somewhere to sleep in the night. A lot of times they will get underneath a vehicle if they can find one, to get out of the rain and to hide from the dangers of the night. I have met so many children that have the most difficult stories, and one is 3 years old. Her name is Assessa, and she thinks that I'm literally her mama, and really I am. And so she was left at Noah's Ark by a family member who had tried to keep her and was not able to feed her, and they were literally starving to death. And so in the beginning, Assessa, she's just this tiny little petite skinny little 3-year-old girl, just a fireball of love and energy. But she was so malnourished and so hungry. She just was ravenous and just would eat everything that she could find. The biggest portions of food, like for an adult, of posho, which is made from corn flour, and beans, anything that she could get, she would just eat and eat, and it did not seem humanly possible that she would fit that food in her tiny little body. But over time, she has settled down, and she sees that she has a stable environment and that she's going to be okay. There is Ebenezer is 6 years old. She was left on the city streets in Kampala by her parents, and there's over 1.5 million people in Kampala. And someone found her eating food out of the garbage, and they took her to Noah's Ark, and she is also healing and recovering and doing better. She loves to jump rope. She loves to sing praises to the Lord, and she is, I call her a Spitfire. She is something else. So I have spent time with so many of these children, extra time with some of them because of either them being sick and I was holding them or praying for them, something like that. I had extra one-on-one time with some different children, and then I have met all of them, over 600. I've met all of them and been around all of them every day. I just spent a month there, part of February and March, and I'm getting ready to go back in a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. I'm very excited. I cannot wait to see them again. They are literally the reason that I live and breathe when I wake up every day. In 2020, and when I got out of the hospital from this accident, people would ask me, do you know what your purpose is? Why that your life was so miraculously spared? And I never knew, Of course I knew that it was really big. It has to be, right? To basically be able to walk away from something like that. What happened was it was a multi-car pileup, and it had been raining that day. And as the cars, were spinning around and around, what stopped my car was the back corner of a semi, the box, that back bottom corner. My car ran up under there, and my skull was busted on impact. This is not the original shape, that was naturally busted. The doctors had sawed, that shape out. And I will come live again, and I'm going to share the photos from, I think it was January 2020, after I got out of the hospital, all the way up to now, of how much the bone has grown and how much this hole has closed up. People thought I was crazy because I refused the plate. I refused the extra surgeries. And as you can see, I'm doing very well. But in December of 2019, as the brain swelling had gone down enough that I could begin to think enough, it was still fuzzy, but I could think better, for myself. And I was actually aware of the fourth surgery that I had. I did not know about any of the others. But as that began to happen, and I began to really wake up, and God began to stir my faith in me. Up to that point, the prayers of the prayer warriors had carried me. And he began to show me like a movie. I could just see it like right in front of me. He showed me Ezekiel in the Valley of Dry Bones, and how the prophet, spoke life, into those dry bones, and they raised up with flesh and muscle and tendons and ligaments and all that, to be a great and mighty army for God. And I'm just sitting there, kind of processing what has actually happened to me, still, processing that and what God is showing me. And I just simply said to the Lord in my mind, I know that you did that, Lord. So like, if you did that, this piece of skull that's missing right here is like a grain of sand to you. It's literally nothing, And in that moment, the Lord showed me my face, a vision of my face at the foot of the bed, the hospital bed. And so I'm just sitting there looking at myself, and I know people think this is crazy because after you hit your head this hard, I get it. I get that people think that, they're like, she's really lost it. But, God works in mysterious ways. And so I'm looking at my face, and I saw the hand, like the hand of the Lord, and went like this. And when it came down on the right side, all of this was closed and made whole. And he said, you don't need those other surgeries. So I have stood on that since December 2019. I actually, lost family. I lost friends. I lost people that were very dear to me because they just simply did not have the faith, or maybe the endurance, the patience, the ability to walk this out with me. And that's okay. We're all different, and I understand that. But I'm the one who had been on my deathbed, and I'm the one who realized how powerful this is, that the doctors and the nurses are telling me, you just don't realize how amazing you are. And I'm, I finally spoke up, and I'm like, I don't feel amazing. Like, I'm not really understanding what you're talking about, because I can't even go to the bathroom by myself. You know what I mean? Like, what is so fascinating about all this? And they're like, but people like you who have these accidents, they don't walk away. They don't make it to the hospital alive. Not only have you made it to the hospital, but you're improving and you're getting well and you're going to get to go home. And I was like, wow, okay, that's, powerful right there. That is very powerful. So, after a while, things begin to happen, and the hole began to get smaller. And the people who were saying, you hit your head too hard, you've lost your mind, you're crazy, they began to quieten down, and they've just watched, because even in the last few weeks, it has grown even more, and the hole has closed even more. They say medically, statistically, scientifically, or however you put it, that bone cannot grow even in a baby after they're a year old. From my understanding, that's the information that I've had. And I'm almost 49. So you know, that's the God I serve. And when I was a child, my grandmother took me to church, and she had a great faith. She instilled faith in me, and I cherish that gift that she gave me. She told me, you know, she was born in 1918, and so she grew up and lived her adult life raising her children without Medicaid, without food stamps, without a car. She never drove, without money, all of the extra things, you know, that America has, especially. She never had these things. And so she said that she was home one day, and her baby boy turned black and blue and was not breathing. He was literally dead in her arms. And she held him up to the sky in her arms, and she yelled, "Father, breathe into my baby." And he did. And what is most beautiful of how life comes full circle, that uncle came and stood over my bed when I laid there. Yeah, on my deathbed in Little Rock, Arkansas, in that big hospital. He came and he stood over my bed and he prayed for me. And he prayed for God to breathe life into me. There is power in faith, and there is power in prayer. I know the world believes a lot of different things. I know a lot of people fight, you know, about Jesus and about the God that I serve. They don't believe it, or they've been hurt by the church. Well, I was hurt by the church too a lot of times, you know what I mean? And at one point, when I was about 24 maybe, I was in my early to mid 20s, and I literally said that I would not ever go back to church again. I hated church. I hated preachers. It was bad. I had just, you know, barely survived domestic violence, and I was not in a good space. But, you know, one day I realized the Lord did not do those things to me. People did. And, you know, I learned how to set up boundaries, and I learned how to protect myself. I learned how to love people at arm's length and not let them do to me what I had always allowed them to do. And it's changed my life. And it has allowed me to focus on Shell, because I have been working, you know, nonstop. It feels like since, you know, the accident, I've been working on Shell. So instead of judging other people, I'm judging myself, you know, and not worrying about if they're trying to hurt me, or, you know, if they're gossiping about me, or if they think I'm crazy or whatever. I just let all that go. And it has brought me so much peace and so much joy. And as you can see, that picture collage, it paints a powerful story of what is possible. You know, in the beginning, I had double blurred vision. My eyes had so much trauma. And I mean, they had to completely rebuild this eye socket. It's, I think it's titanium. And this is like a titanium eyebrow they had to put in there. They had to build all this back up on this side, and my nose too. And so I had double blurred vision. My balance was terrible. My short-term memory was terrible. I was very weak. My skull was crushed. You know, there was no way to count the broken bones. They just gave up and said that it was just like hundreds or something. They just gave up. But when I got out of the hospital and I'm trying to navigate life and find strength and overcome this, for one, I had no pain medication. And it's not because I refused to take it. They would not give it to me because the head injury was so severe. And so I had to really dig deep. My grandma always told me that when you feel like there's nothing left inside and you just can't take one more step, dig deeper, because there's something down in there that you're going to tap into that you did not know was there, that you're going to be able to make it, and it's going to make you a stronger person. And so I prayed and I said, Lord, what am I going to do? I could not even see to read my Bible because my eyes were just like, I couldn't see to look at my phone. I couldn't see anything. I could see some stuff like if I was trying to walk, like, in the house or outside, but I couldn't see to read anything at all. And I said, Lord, what am I going to do? Like, you've spared my life in this miraculous way. I need help. And he told me to speak life over myself. And, even the people who don't serve God know how powerful positive affirmations are. When you put stuff on the mirror and you get up every morning and you look at it and you read that over yourself, it changes your life because it changes your mindset. It changes your health because our body's listening to what we're thinking and speaking. And so the Lord told me what to say. He told me to speak, my eyes are healed and whole and healthy and strong in Jesus' name. My brain is healed and whole and healthy and strong in Jesus' name. My mind is healed and whole and healthy and strong in Jesus' name. My memory, my balance, the broken ribs, everything, I spoke to every area. Now, the key is what people don't quite understand or have patience for, because God was also developing a deeper fruit of patience in me than I had ever known. You don't go through something like this and not have to deal with being patient at some point. But it did not happen the next morning. It did not happen the next week. It did not happen the next month. But I have walked into every single thing that I spoke over myself. My balance is awesome. My short-term memory is wonderful. They said that I would not be able to see out of this eye again. And if I did, I would have to wear corrective glasses for the rest of my life. I don't wear glasses. I can see crystal clear. And everything that I spoke life into every weak area became strong and allowed me to obey God when he told me in 2020, I'm going to send you out of the country to preach the gospel. And I said, well, can I have my forehead first? Because he had already showed me right in December, 2019 that that I'm going to be able to see this completely whole and not need the other surgeries. Well, we don't always get what we want, and the Lord just ignored me because I never thought about it again. I just assumed that I would have a complete forehead before he put me on that plane to send me out of the country somewhere. But then in January of last year, he began calling me to Uganda, and it just got stronger and stronger, and there was more and more signs, and there was more and more confirmation, and I prayed and fasted, and he would show me things, and I would keep it to myself, and then he would show me confirmation from outside sources, through people, and all different ways. I even I rented an Uber, and the Uber driver, he says, you're on fire for God. You need to go to my home country and preach the gospel. I'm like, oh yeah, well, where's that? And he says Africa, and I'm like, what? No way. And it was just so many things like that that confirmed, and then I really didn't know my purpose that God had spared my life for, even though it was so big. I knew that it was big. I could not imagine, like, what could it possibly be that I was going to do on this earth. I did not know until I stepped into Uganda last year and met these children. And so my purpose is to be Mama Zungu. Somehow I have over 600 children now, and I know that number is going to grow. It's wild to think about, but I'm very grateful people tell me, I'm so sorry this happened to you. You know, do you wish that you had stayed home that day and maybe this accident could have been prevented? But I would not change a thing. I'm so grateful for this accident. And although I don't want to rush to go through the pain and suffering that I went through physically, I would not wish that on anybody. But what has come from it is the most beautiful experience of my life, and it continues to become even more beautiful. Before this accident happened, I don't care if someone would have been writing me a $10 million check. I would not have got on that plane and flew by myself anywhere, like at all, much less over 16,000 miles. It's like, it's made me more bold and have more courage and strength to do things that I never would have done before. And that has allowed me to meet these children and become Mama Zungu, and experience the beauty of the Pearl of Africa, Uganda. I've been able to take my shoes off and get in the Nile River. You know, I've seen so much beauty in the nature in Uganda. The fruit trees blow my mind. There is jackfruit and papaya and mango and avocado and passion fruit and guava and banana trees, and I mean all of this is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. It is so beautiful and so amazing. I love it, and it literally, it feels like home. Like when I came back to America last year, and you know, got off the plane and went into the airport, I was so sad because the atmosphere is so different in America. There's a lot of agitation and anger and frustration and just sadness. You know, it's very heavy. The atmosphere in America is very heavy. And that is just unfortunate that that people feel so heavy and so burdened, because we only get one shot, y'all, and unless there's a miracle like happened for me, we don't get another chance. And I don't want to take this for granted, and that's why I have just poured myself into this purpose that God spared my life for, to be Mama Zungu, and to be a voice for these children, to, you know, all the time. This is only my second time going live on TikTok, but to learn this technology, because I just last week learned how to do the green screen. And you know, I'm doing this all for the children, because my personal interest is not to learn technology, okay? But because the children are dependent on me for food and to get them off the street and out of harm's way, then I am doing what I need to do to improve the videos and make it a better experience for you all, you know, so that I can help them. That is why I live and breathe, is to help them. And you know, over 20 years ago, when I had barely escaped domestic violence with my life, my aunt shared a quote with me. It was her favorite quote, and it's, "Adversity is the diamond dust heaven polishes its jewels with." And Thomas Carlyle said that. That quote changed my life, because you think about a diamond and what it has to go through to become that beautiful diamond, and all of the opposition, the adversity, the trials, the troubles, it is all polishing us into that beautiful diamond. to be a light to other people. So we can take something that has happened to us, whether somebody passed away or if it's an illness or a disease, we've been diagnosed with a tragic car accident, a head injury, losing a job, you name it. You can take a tragic event in this life and you can turn it around to pure gold for the world. Because, every action has a reaction. And so some actions are so bad it takes our breath away and we don't know how to just get our second wind. We don't know how to make it. But it's our reaction that is going to turn things around for us. So, it's very easy to be negative and to say things that, I don't have any money, I can't do this, I'm not ever going to be able to do that. It's very easy. But on the other hand, what would you choose to do to make that happen? In order to fulfill the purpose that God spared my life for, I had to just preach to myself. Get over yourself, Shell Miller. This is not about you. God spared your life for the world. He didn't spare your life for you, And so I just preached to myself. And I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not, like I said, I would have never gotten on that plane by myself before this accident happened. And, I suffered so bad in my 20s from social anxiety and I would not talk on the phone. I would not, I did not have social media. I would not even answer the door. Like, it was crazy how I suffered from anxiety. I had panic attacks. I had to breathe in a brown paper sack. It was just wild. And now I'm not that person anymore, but it's come with a lot of working on myself. Mental health is a real thing, and it is crippling to a lot of people. But it's kind of like if you break a leg, you may be on crutches for a while, but you don't have to stay on them forever, because that bone is going to heal and you're going to be able to walk again. And the same thing with, mental health. You can, no matter how severe it is, you can start somewhere. You can start somewhere and see improvements over time. It's the diligence, the daily diligence is what I have noticed the most, the consistency that is life-changing. It's not a great big old thing, it's just the little things. Everything that is beautiful in this world, in this life that we have been blessed with, to wake up, breathe in this morning, to be on TikTok together, is about the little things, I know that one of my spiritual mothers taught me that the best and most expensive gift you can give anybody in this life does not cost money. You cannot buy it with money. It is your time. So if you feel like you're in poverty, you're broke, you have no money, maybe you have no job, and you have nothing to offer this world, you're wrong. Because your time is valuable. It is priceless. It's a precious, priceless gift. You could go to the nursing home and give that gift to the elderly people who are sitting there and think nobody cares about them. You could give that to, volunteer at a hospital, a homeless shelter, a soup kitchen. You can give that gift of time. And the amazing thing is, the more you give, that gift of your time, the more blessed your life will become in so many different ways, even financially. Don't do it for just that reason, but it is crazy. I mean, it's like you become a magnet for miracles and blessings um, and joy and happiness and peace and unity. It is just amazing. Thank you so much, Marvin Jefferson. He said, the stuff you're doing for the Lord will matter for eternity. Amen. Yes. And I give God all the glory because, like I said, if, he could have let me die. He could have left me in a nursing home or a wheelchair, or I'm not better than anybody else that goes through a head injury or a tragic accident and does not walk away as well as I did. I believe that he left me physically able and in my right mind because he knew that he was going to send me on that plane over 16,000 miles by myself, and I was going to need to have that physical ability and that cognitive function to be able to travel that way and to be able to love all these children. People have asked me, don't you get exhausted from like over 600 children? You would think. Now, I will tell you, sometimes I have to be like, back away. Mama Zungu cannot breathe anymore because there's so many of them and they all surround me from all the way around me, and some of them are, they get taller and taller, the older kids, and they're just, singing to me and loving on me and laughing with me, and then it gets too hot, like it gets too stuffy and I can't breathe, and I'm like, y'all back away, Mama Zungu has to breathe for a minute, give me some fresh air. So that kind of thing happens. But African children are not American children at all. Like, I was so shocked. As you can see in all of the photos with the children, I do not have to wear that helmet. They do still, the doctor has me to wear the helmet if I'm on a plane, like if overhead luggage was to fall during turbulence or something like that, or in a car. Just I want to protect this blessing that God has given me. I don't want to be foolish or dangerous with it, but the children are so respectful in Africa. Yes, Marvin said his purpose for you is greater than your accident. That in itself is a testimony which can help others. Yes. And I am going to do a different background photo for the green screen and come on and talk about just the accident and how much that hole has closed, how much that bone has grown. Oh, you went to the Dominican for a mission trip. Wow. Many thirst for Jesus. That is wonderful. God bless you for your work and all that you're given to God's kingdom. But I will come on here another time and just share the testimony of the car accident, because there's a lot more to that. And a lot of people need that encouragement of how to overcome. It's one thing to be a survivor. I was a survivor for many years of domestic violence and other things. But it's a whole new level to be an overcomer, because it means you've overcome. You've, come to the top of that mountain. You've left all that heavy weight and all that baggage down at the bottom of the mountain. It fell off of you. And so one thing that I noticed after my accident, and I was advised to join brain injury groups on Facebook, I was kind of alone for the most part in my positivity. And I found out real quick they did not appreciate my positivity. I was like, oh wow, because I was so happy to be alive, even though I was suffering and I was hurting, and I was excited it had got to the point that I could see the phone, to see the Facebook, you know what I mean, to read the comments and to make posts. And so I was making posts of, how I was walking outside and getting stronger and being able to walk further, and how life is beautiful. I was sharing scriptures and quotes and all this stuff, and they were like, I lost my husband, I lost my wife, I lost my job, I lost everything, and they were angry. They were angry at God, and I was like, wow, I did not expect that. So I've seen, still, this is 2024, and that was 2020. And I've seen some of those same ones are still in this same exact condition that they were in, some of them even worse. It's so powerful. Our words are so powerful. Thank you so much. God bless you for your donation, Marvin. God bless you. I pray God bless you 100-fold for that. Thank you. But our words are powerful. And like I said, whether somebody is serving God or hates God, the positive affirmations work. It doesn't matter what your faith views are. Positive affirmations work. If you get up and you say, I am worthy, I am confident, I am, free, all these affirmations, they feed your soul and your heart and your mind and your life, and they will change everything for you. One thing I look at these children in Africa, the respect that they have for adults, the joy that they have, the sparkle in their little eyes after they have been dumped on the street by their own parents like a stray animal. These children are praising the Lord with their whole heart. I mean, dancing with all of their little might and singing praises to Jesus and reading the Bible and have favorite Bible scriptures, and you're thinking, wow, she's 6 years old, she's 9 years old, like she's 3 years old. How can a child be so rejected and so abandoned and left in that danger? Can you imagine being a little bitty child to just try to find food out of the garbage? You're hungry, you're cold, you're tired, you're thirsty, and there's nobody there to, you're sick, and there's nobody there. There's no mama to say, come in, let me give you some medicine, let me wrap you up and give you a bath and wrap you up and get you warm and feed you. They don't have that until they get to Noah's Ark. There's so many that are out on the street even now. That's why, my vision from the beginning has been to go really big with the housing so that we can bring these children in. It's going to take a lot to house over 300. That is just the current need. But I know that God is bigger, and I know that He's able. My favorite Bible verse that really pulled me through this accident and the pain and the suffering, because there was no sleep with a shattered skull. There was no sleep. It was terrible. I mean, I didn't sleep for so long. It was crazy. But Jeremiah 32:27 is still my favorite. Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? And it does not matter if it is a child facing prison, if it's a cancer diagnosis, if it is a relationship, if it's finances, you're fixing to lose your home and the power is going to be turned off, all these bad things that happen in this life. It is not too hard for God. Sometimes He allows things, like He allowed this accident. It doesn't mean it was too hard for Him to prevent it. It just means He wanted, to give me this gift so that I would be willing to give it to the world. How many people can say that God is growing bone in their skull and closing a hole in their skull? How many people can say that? I wouldn't trade all of this for all of the money in the world. There's just no way. And to give this gift to the children is what is most amazing. So we can take any tragedy, any circumstance, and turn it around to something that is beautiful for us and for others. It's all about our mindset, and we can retrain our mind to think positive, to look at a situation and see the silver lining. You know what's really funny is like when, over 20 years ago when I had just come out of domestic violence, and I was angry at God and the world, and I was a very negative person. I had no hope. I was just like, it's over. There's no good people in this world. I was that negative person. And so I am not at all who I used to be. Like, not at all. I was serving God when this accident happened. I was a positive person when this accident happened. But God has taken me to such higher levels. Like when I came back from Uganda last year, I did not even know who I was. I'm like, who am I? Because the Shell Miller that got on that plane October 3rd, 2023, died. Okay. She was left at the airport in Houston, Texas. Okay. I've never seen her again. And the woman who came back was changed in so many ways, because the Lord told me before I went to Uganda last year that when I stepped my foot into Uganda, I was going to step into healings and deliverances that I had never known. Well, what's that going to be? Who knows what that meant. But the day that I landed, He began to pull roots out of me. Now, we can have roots deep in our spirit, deep in the guts of our soul, all the way back to childhood. Things that have happened, whether it was abuse or fear or whatever. If you let that seed get planted in you, it will grow and it will turn into this root that will choke you to death and hinder you in life. So the first root that God yanked out was in the car on the way from the airport out to the village, to Noah's Ark, actually. And I don't know. I kind of sort of had a meltdown because I didn't understand really what was happening to me. It was sort of post-traumatic stress disorder flashback, I guess you could say, but it was not connected to a memory. It was just my body was experiencing it. I did not know, like I had to apologize to the people who had come to get me because I was upset and I didn't know why. And I wasn't like yelling or anything. I was just very disturbed and just not comfortable. And I just wanted to stop and get out of the car. And so it was a very strange experience for all of us. And I didn't know what happened until the day before I left, which would have been November 25th last year. I did not know what was happening. Why did that happen? But the Lord showed me that He pulled a root out of me from 30 years ago, that I had been in an abusive relationship with a man who tried to kill me while he was driving the car. And so I didn't have a mental memory of that. I had blocked it out and just went on with my life. But God healed me from that. He pulled that out by the root. And there was other roots that He pulled out, several roots. He has revealed, I think, 3 or 4 of them to me now. But it was very powerful, very emotional. And I came back new and different, and I'm still changing and growing, even though I've been back and then come back again now to America. But if we will allow ourselves to heal to the depths of those roots, it will change our life forever. There's no reason to be weighed down by these things. I went through very horrific abuse by more than one man, and for many years that abuse, the memories of that abuse, and the effects that it had on me, kept me in prison, kept me in darkness, kept me alone, like just not willing to really have friends, not willing to go experience new things, not willing to talk on the phone, not willing to open my door. It hindered me, and it kept me in prison. And people think that you have to be in jail or in prison to be behind bars and to be confined, but that's not true, because your mind can be free like an eagle and soar above everything in this life, or it can be a cage and keep you behind bars. And I've been in my life to where I've experienced both of those things. And I can tell you that right now, to have this free mind that is soaring like an eagle above everything in life, it is much, much better and more beautiful and peaceful this way. Now, is my life perfect? No. No. Do I have problems in my life and situations, that come at me? Yes. But I've learned that life is just too beautiful to be upset. I've learned to let people go, even since this past year, since October, and even before, just really all of last year, as I began to prepare to go to Uganda, I've lost a lot more people in my life. They don't understand my desire to go to Africa. They don't understand why I would travel alone. They don't understand my passion for these children, why I will never shut up every day. I'm always, running my mouth for these children, because these children depend on me. I'm their voice. I'm their advocate. They can't get on here and say, we need paper for school. We need food so bad. We need a bed so we don't have to sleep on the street. That's my job. That's why God spared my life. And so, it's much better to be in a place of freedom. And it has taken time. I mean, like I said, I'm going to be 49 in August, and it has not always been this way in my life. But they say with age comes wisdom. So I guess I'm getting old. Well, I don't know. I don't feel old. But I have told people before, I feel like when this accident happened and that corner of that semi-trailer bed, busted my skull open, it's almost like God let wisdom pour into that hole that I had never had in my life. And I'm very grateful for that. I don't know if any of you have any questions, because I have not stopped talking. But if you want to ask me anything, feel free. I've seen a lot of you pop on, but your names kind of go fast, and some of them I cannot pronounce. I thought it was cutting off there for a minute. I'll talk a little while longer, and then I think my phone is on the verge of dying. I will be coming on live more often, though. I've made videos on my TikTok page, but this is only the second time I have gone live. And it's not as scary as I thought it would be. Facebook Live is different. It seems like, for the most part, they don't want you to talk as long. And so I make shorter live videos over there and, share the information for whatever I'm updating or raising funds and things like that. But here on TikTok, the live videos go on forever. I hope you've enjoyed what I have shared. I'm very grateful to each of you who have stayed and watched and learned more about the accident, how to overcome, and the children at Noah's Ark that are so dear to my heart. There's one little boy named Fred. He is a comedian. Oh my gosh, he's so funny. He keeps us entertained every single day. I think maybe I'm going to finish this live and charge my phone. I may come back on later this evening. And I wish you all the best. Be encouraged and don't give up, because what is the Henry Ford quote? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So what are you going to believe? What are you going to choose to believe? And what are you going to choose to speak? Because those two things right there will change your life. Have a most blessed day or evening wherever you are at in this world. And until next time, God bless you. Bye.